sheet I gave you shows you,
The sheet?
didn't I give you the
You
sheet?
did, but
Okay, the sheet's gone, okay.
no.
I got it saved at home. I'll print another one, because it has a barcode,
I know that you can email it.
and it takes you right there to download the app.
Good morning. I spoke to this minute, she probably didn't ask the same thing.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach, or as we call it, UUFVB. And may I be one of the first to welcome you to say Happy Pride Month to everybody. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. And and did you notice there's something different this morning? You did notice. Does it feel a little cushier in your pews this morning? It's a little different color. Yeah, it's pretty nice, huh? I want to thank the Emerson Center. I think gave us a little bit of collateral to help update these pews. It's really nice. So, by the way, I am Reverend Tom Capo. I'm the minister here. And for those who may be visually impaired, I'm past 60, white, and with longish hair. This morning I have gone to flamingos. So I have flamingos on my tie and on my stole and on my socks. I'm not sure what the meaning of it was, but I just felt like flamingos today. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And I want to say this morning, oftentimes during this welcome announcement kind of section, we talk a little bit about what Unitarian Universalism is. And I want to say to you today that most of the sermon today is going to be about what Unitarian Universalism is. We are what's called a covenantal faith. And I'll tell you more about that as we go. But suffice it to say that, we don't have a particular belief system. We don't have a credo. We don't have particular books that we refer to as holy books or particular holidays or holy days that are particular to Unitarian Universalism. So what do we have? That's what I'm going to talk about today. So please join everyone else who's here in the fellowship hall. There were lots of treats coming in today. I saw all kinds of cookies and baked goods, and I don't know, maybe we have some eggs or just all kinds of stuff in there. So if you go down the hall to fellowship hall for a little coffee and hopefully some conversation. If you're new, please take a red mug. There may be some people who come up and talk to you then and say, who are you? Why are you, what's going on? Maybe, I don't know. Please silence your phones, and you can look in the order of service for all kinds of things that are going on. I think it's always good to get to know people, and going to some of the events here, not just coming on Sunday mornings, helps you to engage and feel like you're part of the community. So I recommend, look at some of the things that are going on, come to some of those events, movies and different plays, all kinds of things that happen, and see if there isn't something that you might be interested in. All right, shall we intro it?
This
It's our tradition to light a chalice at the beginning of our service, and then we say together the chalice lighting word. So if you'll join me. We notice the chalice flame, reminding us that we are lovingly surrounded and beautifully bound. May this be the gift of our precious hour. They see themselves anew, tenderly tethered to one another, and how wonderful that it has set us free. Shall we sing?
Our opening hymn today is a familiar tune, but completely new words. And I found this online. It's by a UU composer. Rev Tom and Martha's friend Alex sang one of her songs recently. Anyway, I thought this was absolutely very appropriate considering that we're talking about the covenant today and when we fall out of right relationship with each other. So hopefully you'll agree about these words. Please rise as you are willing and able.
I have a reading this morning. A covenant is not a definition of a relationship. It is the framework for a relationship. A covenant leaves room for change and chance. It is humble toward evolution. It claims, I will abide with you in this common endeavor, be present as best I can in our becoming. This calls for a level of trust, courage, and sacrifice that needs to be nurtured, renewed, affirmed on a regular basis. A creed creates a static truth, something that does not incorporate new insights and realities. A covenant, on the other hand, is a dance of co-creation, keeping in step with one another in the flow of our lives. A creed seeks uniformity and a unison voice. A covenant seeks harmony and a shared voice. Sometimes we arrive at unison, but it is not required. A creed gives authority to the statement. A covenant gives authority to shared intention. A creed creates an us and them. A covenant invites relationship. A creed is a prescription that must be relied on. A covenant relies on the treasures of a shared truth. The overall trust within the covenant is the truth with a capital T. Something which no one person can fully see, yet something which each and every person can come to know in glimpses, in another story, in epiphanies. Truth is ever changing in our seeking to understand because of our limited perspectives. We grow into a deeper sense of the meaning of all things when we take our journeys seriously with full heart and mind. The courage within this covenant is the acceptance and celebration of life with all its challenges, pain, ironies, and joys. And the sacrifices within this covenant is the letting go. The letting go of dogmas, of assumptions, of control, and giving over to a greater wisdom which comes to us in bits and pieces. The task of this covenant is to take responsibility for the freedom we espouse. We know that we are interconnected and that we do create ripples of hope or despair, of affirmation or negation. What we do with and for one another is powerful beyond our imagining. Hi, everybody. We have some people here who are new. We have some people here you may know or not know very well. What I want you to do is go say hi. Spend a minute getting to know people, especially those you don't know. Go ahead. Morning, good morning. I shake your hand. Are you gonna, somebody can introduce you later? We should. It's a new member. Good morning. Good morning. We could do this for another hour, but I think, it might be all right. I don't know. This is a time in our service when we acknowledge that we come together here with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. Before me is water, the very sustenance of life. Water can buoy you up, nourish you, and replenish you. It is the source of life, which creates beauty in the very making of tears. This community, like water, is the very sustenance of our lives, especially when we remember our sacred obligation to buoy each other up in times of sadness, to nourish one another in times of want, to cleanse one another with acts of kindness and generosity, and to replenish one another when our hearts are weary and worn. Today, with this water, I remind us visually of our sacred obligation to one another. I add salt for the tears that may have fallen this week. May we remember that there are those among us who might be in pain. So let us be tender with one another, for we know not what is held in the silent sanctuaries of one another's hearts. And I add some flowers to remind us of the beauty and joy that surrounds us in our lives, that floats on the surface of many of our faces and enlivens our spirits. In a moment, I'll invite those who find it meaningful to come forward to place a pebble in the water. But if there are those who wish me to put a pebble in the water for them, if you would please raise your hand and I will do so. Oh, okay. Thank you. Now you're invited to come forward. May all that we offer one another keep us connected and blessed within this time today, within this week ahead. May we be blessed. Amen. Now is our time to express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources with one another. On most Sundays, our offering is shared with local worthy organizations to assist those that are underserved. But on the first Sunday of the month, our offering goes to support the good, the vital work that we do here at this fellowship. Well, you might ask, what kind of things? Well, we now have 4 social justice groups working actively, and we have to support those. Reproductive justice, anti-racism, LGBTQ community, keeping this place green and our community green, dealing with climate justice. These are things you support. And it's important because they're part of our values, what we espouse, so that we walk the walk, not just talk the talk. I invite you now to place your offerings in these baskets that'll come around. If you want to make it just to UUFEB, well, just put it in the basket. You don't have to put it in the envelope or anything. Or you can donate by using the QR code, which was up a minute ago, I think. And now as we receive the offering, let us do so generously and gratefully. Thank you. I invite us now into the spirit of prayer, meditation, or reflection. Each of us has our own way to enter that space. You might take a deep breath. You might let your eyelids rest or close. Let your hands rest in your lap, your feet firm on the ground. And turn your attention within as you listen to the words words and the space between the words. Beloved children of the oneness of many names, you who cover the land in numbers greater than the stars, I petition you. I pray. I pray because of all of us. Because all of us holds a piece of the truth that is. I pray because the vision of beloved community needs each one of us. And this is what is in my prayer. That we show kindness to one another. That we use wisely the unique gifts of our humanity. That we use our free will, our imagination, our creativity, our compassion, that we embrace our knowledge, our power of understanding and awareness. All that is our highest good. And may we see the beauty in our cousin's eyes, the wisdom in our sibling's smile, and we listen for the truth which is unspoken in each other's heart, and hold one another with tenderness, and allow love to transcend fear. Fear that all too often darkens our thoughts and poisons our hearts. I invite everyone, followers of Buddha, Lao Tzu, Confucius, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon them all. Invite everyone, those who revere Mother Earth, humankind, Dharma, Karma, Samsara, and those still seeking, peace be upon them all. Let us embrace the children and followers of all the prophets, of everyone who seeks peace, people of goodwill. And we treasure one another. Call forth wholeness for our fellow creatures. Protect and renew the sustenances of life, the earth, the air, the water. We hold the fire with gentleness. Use it wisely for growth and goodness. May we come from wherever, from the deserts, the mountains, the wetlands, the shores, and lift the veil of indifference. Learn to understand one another's plight and share in the beauty, wonder, joy, and awe of life. May we love mercy and kindness and walk humbly with one another and with all creation. May we love our neighbors as ourselves. Give to others the full measure of our goodness. and honor the covenant of our traditions. May we also covenant with all people of goodwill, creating a covenant of love, compassion, humility, generosity, gratitude, and celebration. May it always be so here in this community as we say peace, shalom, shalom, blessed be, namaste, and amen.
want to introduce our newest choir member and soloist, Annalie Graver. And our other new choir member, Ellie O'Neill. So anyone, please know we are welcome to all ages in our choir. And even though our choir is breaking for the summer soon, I'm also still looking for people to sing with me over the summer. So if you're interested, please let me know. Thanks.
We have such great music here. In the Western religious traditions, the word covenant is about sacred promises made. You find it, for instance, in the Torah book of Genesis, when God made promises to Abraham. God brought Abraham outside and said, "Look toward the heaven and count the stars, if you're able to count them." And he said to him, "So shall your descendants be." And he said to him, "I am the Lord who brought you from Ur and the Chaldeans to give you this land to possess." But Abraham said, "O God, how am I to know that I shall possess it?" And God said to him, "Bring me a heifer, 3 years old, a female goat, 3 years old, a ram, 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." Abraham brought all of these and cut them in two, laying them each half over each other, but he didn't cut the birds in two. When the sun had gone down and it was dark, a smoking firepot and a flame torch passed between the pieces. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, "To your descendants I shall give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates." The ritual of splitting the animals and walking in between them was common in the ancient world for establishing treaties and agreements, particularly between equals, whether individuals or nations. It was a meaningful ritual for an agreement, important for peace in the region. And this ritual covenant became sacred to the children of Abraham. As a matter of fact, the Hebrew word for covenant is related to the idea of cutting, which you see in this ritual. But if you go to the dictionary, you look up the word covenant, it simply says agreement. That's it. No ritual sacrifices or smoking pots or torches. Maybe we need a few of those these days, but simply an agreement, often a legal contract. But what, my friends, does covenant mean to Unitarian Universalism? As I said before, we are a covenantal faith, a religion. Does that simply mean that Unitarian Universalism is just simply a religion of agreements? Well, yes and no. Yes, in that agreements or promises underpin our religion. But there is a particular quality, importance, and yes, even reverence to the promises we make. We are a covenantal faith as opposed to a creedal faith, meaning that we are not united by a set of shared religious or spiritual beliefs, but rather shared beliefs about how we treat one another and this planet and all creation. going to repeat something I read earlier. In our faith, a covenant is a framework for relating. It claims, I will abide with you in this common endeavor. Be present as best I can in our becoming. This calls for a level of trust, courage, and sacrifice that needs to be nurtured, renewed, and affirmed on a regular basis. Promises we make to each other as members of UUFVB are not business agreements, static, legalistic, and transactional. They are living promises. That is, every time we come together, we are called to embody the covenantal promises we've made with one another. And have the courage within these covenants to accept and celebrate life. With all of its challenges, all of its pain, all its ironies and joy, all the sacrifices within this covenant. Letting go of dogma, of assumptions, of control, and giving over to a greater wisdom. It comes to us in bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. I don't know if you know this, but as members of UUFVB, you engage with, accept, to keep, and live into many covenants. Let me share 4 of them with you. The personal covenants we make with God or life itself or all creation or humanity. The covenant between congregation to congregation, which comprises our Unitarian Universalist Association. The covenant between the minister and congregation. And the covenant between member and member, which comprises this UUFVB. What is it, this covenant with God or life or humanity? You see, this faith doesn't tell you what to believe. I don't tell you what to believe. It's not my job. It's your job to figure out what you believe and to embody that belief in your life. We're here to certainly support you in that journey to figure out what you believe and to live that belief. But each one of us is on our own journeys, figuring out what we believe with full heart and mind. What does that mean? Well, it might depend on who you ask, because it's a very personal thing. But I believe as you define what you believe about life, the universe, everything, however you define all of that, that you individually are making certain promises, a covenant, if you will, on how you will live in this world based on your beliefs. Your beliefs about divinity, of humanity, of life. Now, we're here to support you in that, but these are your individual promises. They're not my promises. They're not my covenant, they're yours. And they're going to be different. Matter of fact, we prize those differences. Our different interpretations of the divine, of humanity, of creation, of life itself, they make us a rich, beautiful congregation of people that can not only share with each other, but enrich each other. We do share certain beliefs, though. But they're more along the lines of ethical values. Like love is love, Black Lives Matter, climate change is real, no human being is illegal, all genders are whole, holy, and good. Women have agency over their bodies. These ethical values and others are foundational to our shared, not our personal, necessarily, covenant. What about the covenant we make as a congregation to other congregations and the Unitarian Universalist Association? I know that some of you may feel somewhat disconnected from other congregations or from our Unitarian Universalist Association as a whole. But we are a Unitarian Universalist congregation. And as such, we made certain promises to abide by the bylaws of the UUA. We pay our dues, we vote in elections. We agree to affirm Article 2 of the bylaws and how we articulate our faith. We see love at the center of our faith. And we affirm values that are across our denomination. Values of transformation, equity, pluralism, interdependence, justice, and generosity. As part of that covenant, the UUA provides various resources and support to its member congregations, training, consulting, best practices. And both individual congregations and our denomination, we together with all the congregations provide support and collaboration to each other. It's why we're a Unitarian Universalist congregation. All these promises we make are living and breathing promises. How they are embodied may shift as life changes, as we change, as our experiences expose us to new worldviews, new priorities, new understandings. But we still have promises. They evolve just as we do. They evolve because we change. There's also a covenant between me, your minister, and the congregation. It's from the installation service we had a few months ago, I guess. We agree that this pulpit is free, meaning I can preach truth as I understand it. And we agree that there is freedom of the pew, meaning you can choose to take whatever I preach, which is probably not everything. You agree that I will provide certain priestly functions, child dedications, memorial services, pastoral care, weddings. That agreement acknowledges my unique knowledge and extensive training as a clergy. And I agree that this is not my congregation. It's yours. You make the decisions about how this congregation runs. And I will be your minister until I or you as a congregation or we decide this ministry has come to an end. And through it all, we promise to treat each other with respect and kindness and to mutually support one another. I hope you're not thinking that's all the covenants, because there's more. We have covenant groups, and each one creates agreements about their purpose and their relationships within the group. Some of our committees and working groups have created covenants to affirm their purpose and, again, their relationship, how they will live out their relationship with one another. And just recently, the congregation voted on a congregational covenant, making promises about how we will be in relationship, member to member. Here it's on the screen. I hope you can read it adequately. Will you join me in saying this covenant, please? As members of UUFVB, we promise to strive to keep humor, laughter, and joy in all we do, to listen to one another actively with empathy, to celebrate our differences, remaining open to one another's point of view, to treat one another with tenderness and compassion, in the spirit of acceptance and forgiveness. If one falls out of this covenant, there is a path to restore right relationship. This was created by many, many of you. Wordsmithed by a few and voted on by the congregation. But it's a living document, a living covenant. In our last congregational meeting, there were some responses to this covenant. One that I remember distinctly was a response to the word right relationship. In Unitarian Universalism, right relations refers to a specific framework created by the denomination for building and maintaining healthy, positive relationships within a congregation and in the broader community. This framework was created with input from congregations across the world and individuals. It involves practicing respectful communication, addressing conflict constructively, and promoting inclusivity and acceptance. The concept is rooted in Unitarian Universalist values and principles, aiming to foster a beloved community where individuals, every individual, feels valued and supported. I know we all define words, adding our own nuances to any definition. Words like right and wrong can trigger some of us back to problematic meanings that no longer we affirm in our lives, or bring to mind meanings professed by certain figures or religious communities that use the words to bludgeon others who don't profess their beliefs. But the words right and wrong are not solely defined by authoritarian administrations or by Christian nationalists. We have the choice in how we agree to define words so that they can work for us constructively, for our Unitarian Universalist community, and for our spiritual and ethical growth. So yes, restore right relationships is meaningful if we make it so. One final note on covenants. When someone is out of covenant, if someone is being disrespectful, hurtful, doing harm to another or to multiple people in the community, my friends, we need to be brave enough, loving enough to talk to that person and tell them your behavior, whatever specific behavior that is out of covenant. You're not telling that person that they're bad. You're telling them that that specific behavior is problematic for this community. In most cases, really, in most cases, the person, when addressed with compassion and respect, will gain insight and seek forgiveness. In the spirit of love, we will support them as they return to the community and come back into covenant. However, I think we know that this doesn't always happen. And when it doesn't happen, I want to let you know we're in the process of creating a right relations team who will work with that person to help them return to community and come back into covenant. And if the person continues to refuse to change their behavior, well, I wonder, do they need to remain as a member of this community? That's hard. That's very hard. The right relationship doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. It means our relationships needs to be right for all of us to thrive as a community. Sometimes that's hard. But I tell you today and every day, it's worth it. So my friends, let us remember, we need to lift the veil of indifference if we are to have a meaningful covenants with it, ourselves, with each other, with the minister, with all the covenants we have. If they are to be meaningful, we cannot be indifferent toward them. We need to understand one another's plight and share the beauty, wonder, joy, and awe of life. We need to love mercy and kindness and walk humbly with one another and with all creation. We need to love our neighbors as ourselves, give to others a full measure of our goodness, and honor the covenants. Honor the covenants that we choose. And have covenants, meaningful covenants with all people of goodwill. Our covenants are covenants of love, compassion, humility, generosity, gratitude, and most of all, celebration. May it always be so. So, I'm going to ask you to do something. All right, I know I'm coming over here. This means that you're all involved. We have this covenant that we have for this congregation, between people, between members. I'm going to ask you, while we do our final hymn, we sing our final hymn, to come up and sign it if you are in agreement with this covenant. I hope that you all do, because we've voted on it. What I'd like to do is to take this poster with all of our signatures on it and post it in this congregation so we can see it from time to time. Remind ourselves of what we've agreed to do and how we've agreed to treat one another. So my invitation to you is take a marker, sign it anywhere on here, it doesn't matter, as we sing.
We would be one.
Our words.
Is that for people who aren't official members?
Mhm.
Just members?
Yeah. As we continue to sign, I offer these words as we extinguish our chalice. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in and among us now and always. Amen. And wait before you go, because there's something special. Hold on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Patty. Happy birthday to you. On the board, your VP and your on facilities. You run Emerson Center just to see shows for free. Thank you.
Thank you.